Historians are terrified of the Bible's final prophecy. What if a vision from 2,500 years ago didn't just predict the rise and fall of ancient superpowers like Babylon, Persia, Greece, and Rome, but also described the fragile state of our world right now? For centuries, scholars have been fascinated by a prophecy from the biblical prophet Daniel, which seemed to map out the course of Western civilization with chilling accuracy. But what many are now seeing in its final, unfulfilled stage is a cause for serious concern. It's a vision of a colossal statue that has served as a roadmap of our past, and now, it seems to be pointing toward a shocking future, with its final act potentially unfolding before our very eyes. Our story starts in the heart of the most powerful empire of the ancient world, Babylon. Around 600 BC, King Nebuchadnezzar, the most dominant ruler on earth, had a dream that shook him to his core. The dream was so terrifying, so profound, that when he woke up, the details were gone. All that remained was the bone-deep feeling of dread it left behind. He called for his wisest men, the magicians and astrologers of his court, and gave them a command that seemed impossible. "Tell me what I dreamed, and then tell me what it means." When they couldn't, admitting only gods could do such a thing, the enraged king ordered them all to be executed. This decree reached a young captive named Daniel, who, through what the Bible calls divine revelation, was shown the king's forgotten dream. He was brought before Nebuchadnezzar and unveiled the vision. "You saw, O king," Daniel began, "and behold, a great image. Its appearance was frightening." He described a massive statue with a head of pure gold, a chest and arms of silver, a belly and thighs of bronze, legs of iron, and feet made from a bizarre, unstable mix of iron and clay. Then, a stone, cut out by no human hand, slammed into the statue's feet. The whole thing, gold, silver, bronze, and iron, crumbled to dust and blew away. The stone that struck it then grew into a great mountain that filled the whole earth. Nebuchadnezzar was floored. This was exactly what he'd dreamed. But the vision was only half the mystery. The interpretation would echo through history. Daniel explained that the statue represented a sequence of 4 great world empires, a final divided power, and then a final, eternal kingdom set up by God. This wasn't some vague horoscope. It was a detailed timeline of history, written in advance. And the truly shocking part, it has so far come true, piece by piece. First, Daniel identified the head of gold. "You, O king," he said, "are the head of gold." Babylon, under Nebuchadnezzar, was the undisputed golden empire of its day, famous for its incredible wealth. But its time was limited. Next up, the chest and arms of silver. Daniel declared that another kingdom inferior to you shall arise. And just like clockwork, in 539 BC, the mighty Babylonian Empire fell to the Medo-Persian Empire. This new power, symbolized by the 2 silver arms, was massive, yet its splendor was considered inferior to Babylon's golden age. This historical succession is a well-established fact. Then came the belly and thighs of bronze. The prophecy foretold a 3rd kingdom of bronze, which shall rule over all the earth. History confirms this with stunning precision. In 331 BC, Alexander the Great and his Greek armies conquered the Persian Empire with incredible speed. Ancient Greek soldiers were known for their bronze armor and weapons, a detail that perfectly matches the statue's imagery. The 4th empire was described with terrifying force, the legs of iron. Daniel prophesied a 4th kingdom, strong as iron, that would crush and break in pieces all these. There is virtually no debate among theologians and historians that this represents Rome. The Roman Empire was a military machine unlike any that came before. Its iron legions conquered the known world, ruling with an iron fist for centuries. The prophecy even hinted at its eventual division, symbolized by the statues to legs, a perfect picture of the empire's ultimate split into the Western and Eastern Roman empires, with capitals in Rome and Constantinople. For 2,500 years, this prophecy has served as an astonishingly accurate blueprint. The sequence is correct. The descriptions are uncannily fitting. But Daniel's vision didn't end with Rome. It described one final stage, a kingdom completely different from the others. And this is where the story shifts from ancient scrolls to our modern world. After the crushing power of the iron legs, the statue stands on something shockingly unstable, feet of iron mixed with clay. Daniel described this final world power with a stark warning. It would be a divided kingdom, partly strong and partly brittle. He says they will mingle with one another, but they will not hold together, just as iron does not mix with clay. For centuries, interpreters saw the fractured state of Europe after Rome's fall as the beginning of this stage. The unified strength of the Roman Empire shattered into a collection of tribes and nations that have been in conflict and alliance ever since. Many have tried to reunite Europe under a single iron fist, figures like Charlemagne, Napoleon, and Hitler, but every attempt ultimately failed, just as the prophecy seemed to suggest. They couldn't make the iron and clay stick together. But today, many who study prophecy are pointing to something far more specific. They are looking at the modern European Union as a potential fulfillment of this iron and clay kingdom. Think about the parallels. The EU is an attempt to forge a unified superpower, the iron. It has a central bank, a parliament, and immense economic strength. And yet, it's built on a foundation of dozens of distinct, sovereign nations, each with its own culture, language, and identity. The clay. The strength of the iron is in its shared economy, but the brittleness of the clay is visible in the constant political infighting and clashes of national interest. The prophecy says, they will mingle, but they will not adhere to one another. This perfectly seems to capture the tension within the EU. The painful and public exit of Great Britain. Brexit is seen by many as a stunning real-world example of this prophetic weakness. The iron of the Union couldn't hold the clay of national sovereignty. Theologians like Dr. David Jeremiah argue this fragile coalition is exactly what Daniel described. The iron represents the legacy of Roman centralized power, while the clay represents the conflicting wills of the people. This interpretation gains even more weight for some when you consider the EU's origins. The modern push for European unity began with the Treaty of Rome, signed in the city of Rome in 1957. For many, this was the symbolic rebirth of the Roman Empire, not as a conquering legion, but as a political confederation, a revived Roman Empire standing on feet of iron and clay. The prophecy also mentions the 10 toes of the statue. This is often linked to a parallel vision in Daniel 7 that speaks of a beast representing Rome having 10 horns, interpreted as 10 kings who will rise from this final empire. While the EU has 27 members, some prophecy watchers believe it might eventually consolidate into a core of 10 nations or regions that form a power base for a final world leader. Whether you see this as divine prophecy or just a startling coincidence, the parallels between the fragile, divided, yet powerful state of modern Europe and the ancient vision of a kingdom of iron and clay are becoming too precise for many to simply ignore. The timeline is laid out, from ancient empires to today's headlines. What do you think? Are these just historical coincidences, or are we watching the final stages of a 2,500-year-old prophecy unfold? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you find this journey through history and prophecy fascinating, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss what's next. The prophecy of Nebuchadnezzar's dream doesn't end with the fragile feet of iron and clay. It has one final world-changing event. And in the days of those kings, Daniel declared, referring to the final divided kingdom, the God of heaven will set up a kingdom that shall never be destroyed. He talks about the stone, cut by no human hand, that strikes the statue on its feet. The impact doesn't just break the feet, it causes the entire structure of human empires, the iron, bronze, silver, and gold, to collapse into nothing. The stone then grows into a mountain that fills the earth, symbolizing a new, divine kingdom that will replace all human powers and last forever. For thousands of years, the great statue has stood as a silent witness to the march of empires. Its golden head has fallen, its silver chest is tarnished, its bronze thighs have been broken, its iron legs have rusted and split. Now, all eyes are on the feet. A final, fragile kingdom, a mixture of unyielding strength and profound weakness, struggling to hold itself together. If the prophecy continues to hold true, the next event on this ancient timeline isn't the rise of another human empire, but the arrival of the stone that brings the whole thing down. The dream that terrified a Babylonian king 2,500 years ago might just be the most relevant prophecy for our world today.